So we're excited about it. You know, game week is kind of like Christmas for me. You know, you just get to see what you got. Anxious to see our team play. I think that's probably the biggest thing from a coaching standpoint is you do so many things. You work, you plant a lot of seeds in the off season, and you know now it's to kind of see what you got. And there's only one way to find that out, and that is to go play somebody and evaluate how you do, and then try to keep on getting better. So I am excited to see this team play. I like this football team. I think we've had an excellent camp. These guys have worked really hard. They've bought into what we're trying to do and how we want to do it. Been a very good group to communicate with on a daily basis. So I think all those things are good. I think we're pretty healthy right now, which is always a great thing when you're going into the start of the season and you're just coming off of camp. And, I think that we did a good job as a staff of getting them a little bit of rest the last couple of days, trying to get their legs. They seemed really fresh last night at practice, and today will be a good, tough physical Tuesday for us. But this is an opportunity this week for us to get on a normal game week and really start preparing them mentally on how we do things. In fact, that was one of the things we met with the players on yesterday was here's how we practice, here's why. So they really understand the process that we have in place from a weekly basis, because that's what we want the focus to be. It's just a daily focus on what we're trying to get accomplished. North Texas, there's a lot of unknowns with North Texas. The only real experience I have against them is played them one time when I was coaching in Alabama. But if you study them a little bit, you look at what they did, especially early part of this decade, 01 to 04, 4 straight conference titles. I think they were 25-1 or so in their conference over that period. So there's tradition there. They have resources. They've got a lot of junior college guys sprinkled in all throughout the team. I think they signed 8 this year. So there's just some unknowns that you don't know a whole lot about at this time. Another thing that jumps out at me is when you study them from last year. They played some good opponents, but when you study them, the first thing you look at is their record. It's not very good. I think they were 2-9 or 3-9, something like that. And, but of their 9 losses, 6 of them, were by a total of 24 points. So, and I think 4 of those they had the lead in the fourth quarter and just weren't able to hold on. But what that tells me is this is a bunch that's capable, and that's one of the things we noticed when we've watched film. I mean, they've got some good players on this team. Got a couple of guys we'd like to have, to be honest with you. I think that we've got to do a great job of just making sure that we're prepared. There's always unknowns in an opener, but it's really more about Clemson. That's kind of our approach. It's about us. It's about how we play and how we prepare, and those type of things. Offensively, for them, they've been very good. It's a school record last year under Coach Dodge, 4,900 yards, 4,900 plus, whatever it was, which is an all-time record. And I think over the last 3 years, it's been the best 3-year offensive production they've had in school history. So, they know what they're doing over on that side of the ball for sure. The interesting thing is they've gone and Coach Dodge, I think he stepped aside and they've gone out and hired Coach Canales, who was the offensive coordinator at South Florida, to come in and be the coordinator. So, from us, from a preparation standpoint, you got North Texas. It's a head coach with an offensive background. So you got North Texas and what they've done, what they've been. Now you got to study South Florida and what Coach Canales has done. And there's a lot of things you have to prepare for. Because it's not exactly the same. They've got some experience coming back on the offensive line. 4 of their 5 guys up front started for them last year. But the guy that just jumps out at you is that number 5. I mean, he's a ball player. He can flat out play. He can fly. Dunbar, I believe is his name, but he's 19 touchdowns last year, 1,400 yards rushing. he showed his speed in the Alabama game last year. He had their only touchdown, and he can really run. He's a guy that we've got to do a good job of corralling, and because if he gets in the open field, he's capable of big plays. So 2 wideouts. They've got a couple guys that are a little dinged up right now. Not sure what the status of them are, 15 and 19, but both of those guys, if they play, are returning with big numbers at the receiver position. Defensively, they're a veteran group. 10 of their 11 guys that they're listed as starters have all started at least 3 games, and so I think that's a factor. I mean, the one corner is new, is a junior college guy, 23. I think they're really good in the secondary, and I think the guys up front, just big bodied guys, 99, 91 inside at the tackles position. I mean, these are big bodies, and kind of like what we practice against. So I think from a scheme standpoint, they're very sound in what they do. They've played a lot of different offenses. When you see them on film, I mean, they've had to, because they've played they played their conference, and they've played some people out of conference that are unusual, and so they've had to do a lot of things. But the one thing that jumps out at you is every single week they've been very sound in what they do, and may not always match up well, but they've got good answers to the questions, that's for sure. But for us, again, it's just about us. I'm looking for hopefully a team that'll show up Saturday and be really excited to play. So it's 1 of 12. That's it. This is what we live for. It's 12 Saturdays, and this is one of them. So I think the guys are really working toward being game ready by the time we kick it off at 3:35. But looking for good execution. I think that's something you always want to gauge in the first game is how are these guys carrying things over from the practice field, from your installation. Obviously, we're paring the game plan down now as we get ready for North Texas. But yesterday's practice, hopefully that's a good indication of how we'll play Saturday. In that, there's a lot of focus, very few busts, missed assignments, and things like that. And, that's one of the things you're looking at. As I talk to the players, just being students of the game. Really learning your position, your technique, knowing the opponent, knowing what they're doing in certain situations, what is 3rd down and 3-6, what's their tendencies on this personnel. Really being a student of the game, and hopefully we'll be a smarter football team this year. That's one of our goals. But our first goal is to win the opener, and we've got that opportunity this Saturday at 3:35.